Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Starr Midday News. Coming up on the Starr Midday News today, the opposition National Democratic Congress accuses the Electoral Commission of doing a shoddy work in computing ballot statistics, resulting in a shortfall in presidential and parliamentary ballot papers for some constituencies in the Volta region.
They are trying to shortchange Ghanaians with their reckless way of handling figures. This is what they have started, and we are going to put our eager eye on them because come December 7.
We'll take you live to the Electoral Commission headquarters where there is an IPAC meeting ongoing to address some of these issues. Also, governance analyst Dr. Frederick Odro has been advocating for a US-style election date to address the concerns of the SDA Church with Sabbath day voting. Also, leading member of the Convention People's Party, Kwame Jantwa, expresses worrying electoral violence, and he says it may continue despite the signing of a peace pact by political parties until the Electoral Commission wins back the trust of the electorate.
My particular concern is that violence is triggered by certain things, isn't it? And for me, it's got to do with the Electoral Commission.
Meanwhile, the member of the NPP's legal team, Ishaq Ibrahim, has lauded the peace pact but has warned it is not enough to curtail electoral violence.
My particular concern is that violence is triggered by...
People think deaf people are not really deaf people because...
Also coming up in the bulletin, the deaf community has been calling for the Electoral Commission to engage sign interpreters as they lament the hearing impaired are always left behind when the election results are officially declared.
People think deaf people are not really deaf people because our disability is not visible for people to look at you and say, hey, you are deaf.
We've got details of all of these stories and more coming up for you here on the Starr Midday News. Do stay tuned.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, My Star Radio in the USA, also live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM. Starr News. Informed, in-depth, in touch.
Thank you very much for joining us here on Starr 103.5 FM. This is the Starr Midday News. My name is Lantam Papanko. Now, with just 8 days to go for the December 7 election, the main opposition National Democratic Congress is accusing the Electoral Commission of doing a shoddy work in compiling and computing ballot statistics, resulting in a shortfall in presidential and parliamentary ballot papers for some constituencies in the Volta region. The EC, in a letter to political party representatives on Thursday, announced the discovery of shortfalls in the presidential and parliamentary ballot papers at Kita, Ketu North, Ho Central, Hohoi, and the Ho West constituencies in the Volta region, the stronghold of the NDC. It added that it was addressing the challenge by printing additional ballot papers today. Ahead of an IPAC meeting today, Deputy Director of Elections and IT, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, faulted the Electoral Commission for not doing a thorough job.
They should have given us summaries of regional summaries, constituency summaries, and we would have compared that one to their ballot statistics they've sent for printing. They generated wrong statistics here and sent it to the print house. That's why you had these shortages.
So what are you going to do as a party?
Yes, that's why we are following it now. We have to congratulate my regional officers and that of my agents because we look at it. We've taken time to look at the statistics and we realize that these were wrong statistics they have sent to the printing house. So what do you expect? The printing house will print the same statistics. So the printing house didn't do anything wrong. The agents there didn't do anything wrong. The problem is from this house.
So do you think this can happen in any other regions or any other?
We have been checking. You've seen that some other regions today have ballot serialization problems, and some of them, because of the large numbers they have, that is what led to that. But this one is a statistical problem, and it emanated to the kind of statistics they generated here for the print house. And clearly, if you had the summaries, you yourself could have calculated it, because you know that they are adding 2% to the ballots for each polling stations. But they refuse. They rather dump national summaries for you people. You know, everybody was quiet. What do you expect? You are going to have this problem.
Are you worried as a party?
You should be worried as a media man to educate Ghanaians that these people are not doing the right thing. They are trying to shortchange Ghanaians with their reckless way of handling figures. This is what they have started, and we are going to put our eagle eye on them, because come December 7, they will start giving us wrong figures again, because we don't trust their figures. Never trust any figures that will come from them until you clear from NDC. Trust NDC figures than the EC figures.
You've just listened to Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, who is in charge of the NDC's elections and IT. Now, let's get over to the phone line and speak to my colleague Obed Kingaglu, who is currently at the EC headquarters, where an IPAC meeting is going on to address some of these issues that have come up with regard to the printing of some ballot papers for the presidential and parliamentary elections in some constituencies in the Volta region. Obed, welcome to the bulletin. What can you report with regard to what is being discussed at IPAC right now?
Right, so Lantam Papanko, currently the IFAC meeting just began, where the Deputy Electoral Commissioners just entered the meeting room. But earlier, before the meeting began, we engaged the Deputy Director in charge of IT and elections for the National Democratic Congress, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, who was accusing the Commission for doing a shoddy work with regards to ballot statistics, reasons why there have been shortages that have been detected in the ballot papers for some of the regions, especially in the Volta region. We engaged some of the political party representatives, for example, the MPP, Evans Nemako, who says that they will work with the Electoral Commission to ensure that moving forward, there will be no shortages even before elections begin on Monday. That's the special voting, and also on election day itself. Apart from that, the agenda for today is also to clarify the directive from the Electoral Commission to limit media houses at the collation centers of the Electoral Commission at the regional and constituency level. So basically, those are the issues that are panning out at the IPAC meeting. The commissioner just arrived in the meeting room, and the meeting is just about to start.
Very well. Thank you very much, Obed Kingaglo, for bringing us that update. Obed Kingaglo is at the EC headquarters, where an IPAC meeting is just beginning, and he's been bringing us an update. Of course, in our subsequent bulletins, there'll be more updates as to exactly how all of the issues played out at the IPAC meeting. Meanwhile, still speaking on this, still on this particular issue, Programs Officer with the Center for Democratic Development, Paul Abrompa, has been reacting to the development, and he has applauded the EC for being proactive. Listen.
EC being very critical of its processes, assessing itself, counting and checking all materials to make sure that it is accurate before the D-Day. So it is a step in the checking of itself to find out that it has actually delivered the required quantity of material to each police station that led into unearth this shortage. So I don't see it as a worry at all.
Some political watchers have
EC being very critical of its processes, assessing itself, counting and checking all materials to make sure that it is accurate before the D-Day. So it is a step in the checking of itself to find out that it has actually delivered the required quantity of material to each police station that led into unearth this shortage. So I don't see it as a worry at all.
Some political watchers have criticized the Electoral Commission, saying that the Electoral Commission is always opening itself up for criticisms when it comes to this electoral process. From where you sit, what's your view?
In the era of skilled information sharing. The Electoral Commission could have gone ahead to print the missing or the shortfalls without notifying anybody. But for transparency, improved communication, and also in order to carry the political parties along in all these processes, the Electoral Commission saw it as expedient to share information with people. So in previous years, you wouldn't have even heard of any shortfall. Have gone ahead. If the Electoral Commission had not come out to tell the stakeholders that if it was your experience, nobody could have even heard of it, let alone criticizing it. So I don't see it as a challenge on the management of the electoral process. I see it as critically examining the electoral processes to ensure that it does not leave any chance in its administration.
And you've just listened to Paul Abrompa, who is Programs Officer with the Center for Democratic Development, reacting to the situation. Let's stay on this a while longer because Professor Ni Amate is a political analyst joining us on the phone line to speak about this issue. Thank you very much, Prof, for joining us here on the Starr Midday News. How concerning is this latest development with regard to a shortfall in the printing of ballot papers for some constituencies, especially in the stronghold of the NDC in the Volta region?
Thank you very much. I think it's a good thing that this has been seen and then steps have been taken to get it resolved. Because if not, we're going to experience a very messy situation. People are going to be disenfranchised. We're going to have possibly delays in our electoral processes. And then there might be the casting of doubt on the integrity of our ballots. And, I mean, what about the international reputation we're going to lose? Okay, so I think it's a good thing that we've been able to see this early enough, except that what I didn't like about this is the fact that the Electoral Commissioner still sent this to the public. The publication shouldn't have come to the public notice because remember, in that publication is also the name of the printers. And I think that's not good enough because look, no matter what you do, no matter whether you have candidates signing for a peace pact and stuff, you have bad guys amongst us. And they are also sniffing around for information such as this. So I think we need to be careful what we do and what we say.
Now, coming at a crucial time like this, when we are going into elections, do you, in your estimation, believe that it raises reasonable suspicion and lends credence to any claims that the EC may want to do something untoward in the stronghold of the NDC?
Yeah, so remember, the NDC is already making quite a number of allegations, some of them very, very solid. And I think happening again in their stronghold will more or less feed into the already bad light that the NDC seems to be putting the EC in. I think what the EC should have done should have been more proactive. The EC should not give any chance at all for such a thing to happen. Remember, there are other rumors of potential light oils to be realized during election periods and stuff. All of these things should not be given the chance to materialize. And that's why I think the EC didn't do well and allowed such a thing to come up. Whatever it is, we also have a saying that it's better late than never. And so I think although people might be suspicious, I think it's a good thing that the EC brought this up by herself and they are taking steps to realize, to make it resolved. Otherwise, I think if people had seen it before then, would have had serious problems. So although it's been seen too close to the time,
right,
I think it's better late than never.
Very well. Thank you very much, Prof, for speaking to us here on the Starr Midday News. Professor Ni Amate is a political analyst joining us on the phone line to speak on this issue. Now, a new development reaching us here at Starr News indicates that there are some ballot papers which were being transported to some constituencies that had their seal broken, and it's raising some concerns. My colleague Na Dede Tete joins me in studio with details details of this. Now, what's happening in that regard?
All right, so there's a video on social media in which there's an individual in question showing videos of bags containing electoral materials. So one of these bags that is supposed to have 3 seals intact have the seals broken, and the person is running a narrative or giving a narration and says that they will resist it, they will ensure they get some answers, and they will not accept the bags as they are without the seals being intact. Well, subsequently, the Ghana Police Service has issued a statement in relation to that, addressing the issue. It says here, it's titled, Incident Involving Broken Seal of One Electoral Material Bag Resolved. It says that the Ghana Police Service wishes to inform the public that an incident involving the broken seal of one electoral material bag in Koforidua intended for distribution to one of the constituencies within the Eastern region has been successfully resolved. It has been revealed that when the bags were removed from the armory, one of the seals was found to be off. It has been established that this occurred as a result of the packing and unpacking of the bags. The broken seal has been found, and the contents of the bag have been confirmed to be intact by the stakeholders, including the Electoral Commission and representatives of the political parties who witnessed the incident. So the police says it has been resolved. It was due to the unpacking and packing of the bags, and that the content of the bags are intact, and it was witnessed by the Electoral Commission and other political party representatives who were present.
Very well. Nadede Tete, thank you very much for bringing us that update. Now, leading member of the Convention People's Party, Kwame Jantua, says the signing of a peace pact by political parties to ensure a violence-free elections on December 7 may not suffice until the Electoral Commission wins back the trust of the electorate. Kwame Jantua believes the Electoral Commission should have started processes to prevent electoral violence much earlier in the year. He spoke with Nadede Tete earlier on the Morning Star.
Just signing a peace pact, really and truly, I don't think stops the fomenting of problem. Signing paper does not stop the fomenting of violence. But you know, my particular concern is that violence is triggered by certain things, isn't it? And for me, it's got to do with the Electoral Commission.
They were there and they said that they will ensure that whatever they do is with integrity, will be transparent, and the results they will declare on the day will be a reflection of the will of the people.
And then was it yesterday?
Yes.
Or the day before?
Yesterday.
Was it yesterday?
Is it the one in relation to the insufficiency?
Yes.
For the Volta region? Yes.
Did you not hear that?
Yes. They put out a statement yesterday.
And if somebody wants to foment trouble, wouldn't they even foment trouble? They shouldn't be saying one thing and acting differently. It can't be.
But what if it wasn't their fault? There was a shortfall.
What are you trying to tell me? Wait. Now what are you saying? It wasn't their fault. Isn't it their responsibility to make sure that ballot papers are fully given to every constituency, especially when it's a stronghold of another political party? Can you imagine if ballot papers went short in Ashanti? Can you imagine? If ballot papers went short in Greater Accra, if ballot papers went short in Eastern Region, especially those regions with huge constituencies. So you don't come and plead and pledge peace, but then when you go back, you do something else. So they should try their possible best to stick to what they mean. Now let me ask, do the people of Ghana trust the Electoral Commission?
But member of the NPP's legal team, Ishaq Ibrahim, believes that the signing of the peace pact by political parties is a triumph for Ghana, but it's not enough not to foment violence.
I think it's something we need to celebrate. From the beginning of this year, when the NDCs were dragging their feet that they would not sign, they would not sign, they would not sign, they would not sign, it was quite worrying, because signing a peace pact, as we have traditionally done, is a way of communicating to our grassroots that, look, regardless of the outcome, there will always be peaceful transition if that is what Ghanaians want. And if the Ghanaians want us to maintain the status quo, we will do that. As the constitution writer said, power emanates from the people. So with all of them signing and the handshake that our flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, had with the former president, I mean, was quite triumph. I mean, I love that. When the people see it, they see that these are not enemies. And that if you go to the polling station that day, you have to vote peaceful and get out of the way. As the IGP said, they will be ruthless on anyone who tries to foment trouble. And this peace pact tells you that your leader will not be with you if you go and cause trouble. I am the legal coordinator for the Northeast region. I am not coordinating to help somebody who unnecessarily cause trouble, unnecessarily cause tension. Because we are not going to win election on the blood of anyone. The only blood we need from you is the blood that takes you to the police station to vote and go home. So the peace pact was very, very important.
Ishaq Ibrahim is a member of the NPP's legal team. Now, governance analyst Dr. Frederick Odro is advocating for Ghana to adopt the U.S. model of election scheduling, which designates a specific month, such as the first Tuesday in November, rather than a fixed calendar date. Now, this suggestion comes in response to concerns raised by the SDA Church, which has urged its members to observe the Sabbath day. Now, in Ghana, Election Day currently falls on December 7 every 4 years, which sometimes coincides with the Sabbath. Dr. Frederick Odro believes that adopting this model could ensure maximum participation in elections. He joins us on the phone line for a further discussion on this matter. Dr. Odro, thank you very much for joining us here on the Star Midday News. What specific benefits do you see in adopting the U.S.-style election date for Ghana's electoral process?
Well, I think we want a lot more people to participate in the election. And when people cannot participate in elections for various reasons, one being religious reasons, I think we are not helping them to exercise their full rights as citizens. And you know, oftentimes our religious beliefs can be such that it override our civic responsibilities. Then also, even besides choosing a date that will allow all people to participate with very little religious considerations, we also need to look at convening of the voting day. I am of the opinion that because a number of our citizens choose to go to their hometowns and other places to vote, we need to work things out in such a way that we can allow people to have a traveling day prior to the election and possibly get an opportunity also to return to their workplaces or where they would normally be after the election. So even beyond looking at the day, a day, we should also consider making the day of the national elections public holidays to enable people actively participate without any encumbrance on them.
Very well, Dr. Odro, thank you very much for speaking to us here on the Star Midday News. Dr. Frederick Odro is a governance analyst, and he has been suggesting that we adopt a different style with regard to scheduling a day for Ghanaians to go to the polls to go and vote. Meanwhile, with just 8 days remaining until the polls, we turn the spotlight on journalists and their crucial role in ensuring the credibility of the news consumed by the public. This comes in the wake of another faux pas surrounding the training of 22 headporters as drivers. My colleague Elik Plimaoku has more in the following report.
Cheers erupted for the 22 young women who received certificates for completing their training as certified bus drivers, part of the government's National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, under which the Kayaye Empowerment Program falls. On Wednesday, 27th November 2024, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia launched 10 electric buses in Accra, with a newly trained Kayaye set to drive them. Also, we thought, until the identity of one of the drivers under the program came under scrutiny.
driver. How they do. I'm highly privileged to be your driver. Thank you for this opportunity.
See, one such success story featured a young woman driving Vice President Baumia during the pilot phase of the electric bus project. She was introduced as a former Kayayu, a head porter, who had received training through the initiative. But before government could bask in the praise, social media users quickly pointed out the discrepancy. The driver, identified as Mary Lalako Agboli, was not trained by the government under this program. In fact, she had been working as a driver for the Ayalolo Bus Rapid Transit System for 6 years. In addition to highlighting this inconsistency, social media users raised concerns about the short period of time the women had spent acquiring their D and E licenses. These questions remain unanswered by the government, even as the conversation continues to gain traction online.
And that's my colleague Alikpli Mauku's report there. Now, my colleague Nana Ama Aqua is joining me in studio with some of your reactions on social media to this development. Nana Ama, what have people been saying about this?
Good afternoon, Lantam. Well, we picked up from Twitter. Now we have our first comment from Justice Shremsai, who says, yet the same government will be spending taxpayers' money in the so-called fight against disinformation and misinformation. We have Steve, who says, you've made your point, fair enough, but let's not always focus on the negative. For once, we can applaud the gentleman for this initiative and stop this banter, which is shadowing this good work. Then we have Bucks, who simply says December 7th. Then we have Rich, who says it's only 3 words. It is possible. Kwerku says maintenance is key. We also have here, when you pick a taxi or a bus, do you ask the driver of his or her background before patronizing? Perhaps she was a Kayoyo even before Ayololo employed her. Hail the whole initiative as a good one. Stop projecting agendas which aren't important to the grand scheme of things. People are in 2 minds, let's say. But, well, that's what we have for you right now, Lantam. Back over to you.
Thank you very much. Nana Aqua there with some of the reactions to this development on social media. Jones Aji joins us in studio now with the latest from the world of sports. We want to find out, and I'm particularly interested in what is happening to my team. Jones,
yeah.
Good afternoon.
Amorim.
Yes,
Amorim is showing working.
Amorim is showing working. What's the latest? What's the latest in that regard?
I mean, he's actually come out to say that he was not happy yesterday, although they won.
Yeah.
They created a lot of chances, and the team could have scored a lot of goals.
Yeah.
But then it didn't go in their favor. Eventually, they won. And as he said, it will take some time. But then let's move from Manchester United and talk about Liverpool and Man City, because this weekend they are going to have the top line clash this weekend. And coach of Liverpool, Ancelotti, says Man City are a very good side despite their recent poor run of form. Man City have not won a game in their last 6 games, losing 5 and drawing 1, and lies second 8 points behind Liverpool, who they play this weekend in the English Premier League. Despite Liverpool losing once in the league this season, Ancelotti believes Pep has what it takes to make things work for Man City again.
And I know everybody's looking at their results, and I've seen them as well. But if you face them, and that's what we do, you analyze it, and then I've seen, so for example, against Brighton, they were 1-0 up, could have scored 2 or 3-0, didn't, and then got beaten 2-1. Against Tottenham, they could have been, after 20 minutes, 2 or 3 goals up, weren't. And against Feyenoord, that has not happened many times. They were 3-0 up, completely dominated the game, and then all of a sudden, in the end, it was 3-3. So they are still a very, very, very good team. And one of the reasons why I think Pep Guardiola is the best manager in the world, or one of the best managers in the world, I think the best though, is that he always comes up with solutions for his problems. So, and his problem now might be that Rodri is out. But we all know, at least I think, that he will come up with a problem that their run of form will go again, hopefully after Sunday.
Okay, Kumasi Asante Kotoko have announced that they would move the rest of their home games in the Ghana Premier League to the Babayara Sports Stadium after the Porcupine Warriors had to use the Linkley Stadium as their home grounds. It is understood that the NSA has completed renovation works at the stadium that was closed down after CAF rejected it for the AFCON qualifiers. Okay, that should do it for sports this afternoon. There's more on the game today at 1 p.m.
Thank you very much. Jones Aji, the Amorin boy. The Amorin boy with the latest in the world of sports. You're still listening to the Start Midday News. The Catholic Special Vocational School located at Fijai in the Sekondi Takrady Metropolis, which specializes in training special needs children in the Western region, is grappling with infrastructural challenges as the main access road leading to the school is in a deplorable state. Additionally, school authorities are struggling to maintain the upkeep of the school children due to a lack of funds. There's more in the following report.
The Catholic Special Vocational School located at Fijai in the Sekondi Takrady Metropolis was established to equip children with special needs the needed vocational skills. The school presently has close to 200 special needs children, but the constant challenges with infrastructure and financing is impacting the quality of care and tuition. The school's bus has currently broken down, with the dining hall also in dire need of refurbishing. Florence Asiedua is the administrator of the school.
We have many challenges, especially our roads. You need, where you were coming, you were suffering, so you have to use a different route to this school. Our road is very bad. Our school bus is paused. And look at the dining hall that the children are eating. This is just a temporary structure. It's not actually a dining hall. We don't have a playground for the children, so making it difficult for them. And their food is an issue, even though the government provides, but it's not enough. So we fall on other NGOs for their support.
Among the school's many challenges, students are also forced to sleep on the bare floor, as almost all the beds have broken down.
We appeal to the people out there to help us with the dormitory. You see, as time goes on, the children increase, and the dormitory cannot contain all of them. So we appeal to everyone, if they can assist us with the boys and girls dormitory, we're very grateful.
As the school calls for more support from the general public, some benevolent persons donated some consumables to the school.
You're still listening to the Start Midday News. The bulletin is live across the country on our affiliate stations.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, MyStar Radio in the USA, also live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM. Starr News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
This is Starr 103.5 FM and Starr 103.5 FM. This is the campaign trail. We've got 8 days more to election 2024. The campaigns are getting hotter and hotter, and the political parties we know now have all come together with their leaders to sign a peace pact. But there are those who believe that simply signing a peace pact is not going to guarantee peace in the upcoming elections if the right things are not done. But then again, what kind of message is this sending to the various supporters of all of these political parties as far as ensuring that there is peace in the elections are concerned? These are issues that are coming up as we've got just 8 days more to election 2024. And the question that we always ask you here on the campaign trail is, as the elections are approaching, have you made your choice already? Or are you still contemplating on who it is that you want to vote for? There are 12 candidates vying for the big seats at the Jubilee House, 12 of them. But of course, when you go, you see 13 candidates on the ballot paper. But the Electoral Commission is advising that if you vote for number 3, your vote will be null and void and counted as a rejected ballot. So that's something that you should take note of. Because the GFP and Madam Ekriadonko, who has passed on to glory, is no more contested. But her name will be on the ballot paper. So don't vote for Ekriadonko, otherwise your ballot will be counted as a rejected ballot. But then you have 12 to choose from. Who is it going to be for you? 8 days more to election 2024. And as it is 8 days more, there are polls that are coming. I know that you've seen a poll from Professor Smart Sapong, which is predicting that Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is in the lead with about 49%. With John Mahama also trailing with about 45%. And the other candidates are down there. It means there possibly could be a runoff if what Professor Smart Sapong is saying is anything to go by. Well, there is a recent poll by Global Info Analytics. And the latest poll by Global Info Analytics is suggesting that the NDC is in a comfortable lead to win this election. And of course, there are some figures in terms of percentages that have been ascribed to it. My colleague Ibrahim Al-Hassan is in the studio to give us details of this latest poll from the Global Info Analytics. Ibrahim, what is Global Info Analytics and Musa Dankwa saying? What are they saying?
Well, nothing different from what the Global Info Analytics, led by Musa Dankwa, has been saying since it started polling for December 7, 2024 elections. And so, therefore, if you compare the latest, and this, according to him, is the very final prediction for December 7, 2024 elections, and that's this coming this Saturday. So John Dramani Mahama and his NDC, per what Global Info Analytics has put out just a few minutes ago, will do a little over 52%. That's 52.2% to be specific. So John Mahama, according to Musa Dankwa and his Global Info Analytics, is predicted to win Saturday's elections. That's the next Saturday's elections. With 52.2%.
This is an appreciation from the last one we saw from the same Global Info Analytics,
which was a little over 51%.
A little over 51%.
Yes. And this is also, you talked about the poll put out by Smart Sapong.
Yes.
There was also another one put out yesterday, which reflected in the newspapers today, which says John Dramani Mahama is doing a little over 47.3%. And then Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is doing 50.2%. That this morning the newspapers carried.
Yes.
So the latest from Global Info Analytics is that John Dramani Mahama is doing 52.2%, and then Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, whom at the point per this same Global Info Analytics was doing a little over 39%, has now crossed the 40 mark. Is doing 41.4%. 41.4%. And that is what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is predicted to be gathering come next week, Saturday. Alan Chromatin has equally appreciated. He was around a little over 1% in the previous polls put out by Global Info Analytics. Today, the final one that has been put out by Musa Dankwa puts Alan at 2.5%.
2.5%. So
Alan
that's an
is
appreciation.
doing 2%. And in fact, this is 3% if you run it up. 2.5% to almost 3%. That's what Alan Kojo Martin and his movement
for change or Alliance for Revolutionary Change
are doing. Now, Cheddar, Nana Kwame Bediakun,
yes,
who per the polls that have come from Global Info Analytics since the beginning, has always done well than Alan.
Yeah, has always hovered around 4%.
Has depreciated, but that's not enough for Alan to overtake him. He's hovering around 3%.
Right.
3%. That is Nana Kwame Bediako. And when you lump all the others together, so we've just given you the results for 4. Take 4 from 11, and then you will have at least 7 of them. All of them will do 0.9%. So GUM and all the others, CPP and all the others will do 0.9%.
So there are 4 candidates, according to Global Info Analytics, who are above 1%.
Exactly.
That is the major parties, NPP, NDC, and then Alan Tremanting and Nana Kwame Bediako. The rest are doing well below 0%.
Yes, 0.9%. And so once again, 52.2% John Mahama, 41.9% Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, 2.5% Alan Kojo Chiramatin, 3% Nana Kwame Bediako, 0.9% all the others. Now that's presidential. I'm sure subsequently we will then move to the parliamentary.
Yes. Constituency by constituency to see how the projections are looking like in those constituencies.
Yes, but for want of time, let me give you what Musa Dankwa equally predicts as far as the parliamentary elections are concerned. But first of all, the point must be made that Musa Dankwa makes it emphatically clear that there will not be any runoff per the figures I've given you.
He believes there isn't going to be a runoff.
It's just we voting on December 7, and whenever the EC decides to declare the winner will be gotten. We don't have to ask for the second time as far as the presidential elections are concerned. And of course, that is also contrary to what other reports and other surveys and other polls had put out there. So take notice of that as well. When we come to the parliamentary, what is done is to give you the green and the blue pictures. So the blue pictures are the pictures that are home and dry relative to the seats that will be MPP regardless, come rain or shine. Per his analysis and his polls, those seats will be MPP. And there are 99 of them.
99?
That's less
safe
than 100.
and secure seats, according to Global Info Analytics.
Yes.
For the NPP.
99 of them. Now, seats that could go either way. He names them toss-up. So toss-up seats.
Yes.
26.
26 seats could go either MPP or NDC.
MPP or NDC.
Too
and
close to call.
If you give the 26 to the MPP all together, and that means that you are looking at 125 seats. If you give the toss-up seat, all of them, to the MPP,
that's interesting.
You are looking at 125.
That's interesting.
So
that would not even form a that would not form a majority.
Exactly.
And how many seats are being given to the NDC? The green.
Now, when you come to the green corner, 150 seats, Musa Dankwa's Global Info Analytics says will be seats safe, home and dry for the NDC.
That's
150. So that means that the party is expected to gain. The party currently has 137 seats.
Yes.
137. To move to 150, you have to gain 13 more seats.
Yeah.
So Musa Dankwa is expecting at least the NDC to maintain its 137
and then gain 13
more.
Wow.
Give or take. It could be that it could lose some of the seats it's holding, but it will pick up some additional seats and then still make the 150 seats.
And apart from that, there are 26 other seats
toss-up
with which the NDC could even get more.
So if you add all that, the toss-up seat to that of NDC, you are expecting 176 seats.
That will be an overwhelming
That's more
majority
than what the MPP had in the 7th Parliament.
Yes.
That gave it a commanding majority.
Yeah.
Reason why it was able to undertake all the businesses that it could undertake. So that's it. Of course, now they will come in and then we will subject this to some stricter proof.
Yes. And Nadede Tete is also here in the studio.
Okay, so Ibrahim just touched on the seats for Parliament.
Yeah.
There's a further breakdown in terms of the likelihoods with regard to who would win what.
Yeah.
So what is likely to go for the NPP is 45. 45 of them. And then strongly it will go for MPP. That is 54 seats.
Okay.
Then likely NDC, 85 seats.
Okay.
Then strong NDC, that is 65 seats. Now, then the toss-up is a 26, which you mentioned.
Yeah.
There is one independent, which is yellow. Would you put that on Suhum?
Yes.
The Suhum MP?
Yes.
Kwejo Asante?
Yes, it could be.
It could be
or
him.
it could equally be Asante Atim North. But of
Okay.
course, Musa has just sent the entire report to us.
which
so
we'll be bringing.
we'll be bringing to you subsequently, where we expect him to name these constituencies.
Yes, and with regard
so it means
to the
in
voter,
some constituencies, the independent candidates who are there could actually win.
Yes. So, but he's just predicting one independent win. In terms of the voter turnout, you know, the Electoral Commission is targeting about between 79 to 80% in terms of voter turnout. The prediction from Musa Dankwa is that there will be an average turnout of 76.6% with regional variations. And for him, the presidential prediction we brought as well, the margin of error is 1.8%. And those are some of the findings. And then it said Dr. Mahmoud Baumia is predicted to win the Ashanti, Eastern Ahafo, Bono, and Northeast regions. Where's the vice president from? Northeast, right?
Yes.
So he's expected to take his home region.
Yes.
For John Dramani Mahama, it is predicted that he would win the Greater Accra region, the Central region, the Western region, Volta region, and then Western North, Bono East, Northern, Savannah, Upper West, Upper East, and OT regions. Now, Central is very interesting because they have been flip-flopping.
Yes.
They are a swing region, depending on who they prefer and otherwise. Because even in the previous election in 2020, they gave the NDC majority seats in that region. That the president, Anado Dankwa Akufo-Addo, won. So it will be interesting. The Western region as well, John Mahama is expected to win the Western region. That is interesting. This is a region where the regional minister says there's been unprecedented development there. Reason they have erected a statue in honor of the president. So it'll be interesting to have a region as such, which has, in the Western Regional Minister's view, benefited extensively from President Akufo-Addo's unprecedented infrastructural development, deciding to look the other way. And so that will be very interesting. And in terms of the NDC, it's quite characteristic for them to win many of the regions. For the NPP, most often they don't win many of the regions, but the regions they win are critical in terms of numbers when it gets to the presidency. So we get to see them, even though they may just get lower numbers compared to the regions the NDC would get, they get more numbers depending on the critical regions they win.
Let me touch a bit on the Central and Western region because they stand out for me. Now, Central region might not be that surprising that after 8 years of an administration, they move the other way presidentially. Now, Western region will come as a shock to even an ardent NPP supporter. And I'm sure it will also come as a shock to an NDC supporter because usually when the NPP is winning any presidential election, it wins the Western region. It used to win Western, the Bono Ahafo region, the Ashanti region, Eastern region. 4 regions, home and dry. NDC could take 6 out of the 10 regions and still lose.
And because of the population in the other regions as compared to where the NDC usually would win.
And then now there's a split. We have Western region and Western North. The NDC does well in Western North, non-negotiable. There are no ifs and buts about that. But Western region proper, for the first time, Musa Dankwa says that region is going to NDC. That's something to look out for. And then also Central region. Like I said, Central region will not be surprising because in 2020, as Nadi rightly said, parliamentary-wise, they looked towards the umbrella. But when it came to the presidential, their verdict then went to Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The factors I've explained on countless occasions. It's got everything to do with the free SHS and many other pro-poor initiatives that they believed that had to be maintained or sustained. Now, back to parliamentary. I think that if there will be a parliamentary majority, it will be between 140 to 145 seats. I don't expect any party to do more than 145 seats as a majority. I don't.
Well, it will be interesting to see how all of it plays out. Like we've been saying, we've got just 8 days before we go to the polls to go and vote. You go, you choose who you want to be president, and you choose who you want to represent you in parliament as well. And these are what the polls from Global Info Analytics are saying. And it's quite interesting how Global Info Analytics projects the results of the poll as to how it potentially could go, and how Professor Smart Sapong also projects his polls. These are very conflicting. One is predicting victory for the MPP, one is and parliamentary majority also for the MPP, and the other is predicting victory for the NDC and parliamentary majority for the NDC. At the end of the day, the real polls are at the ballots, at the polling stations. That is where it is. And so on the 7th of December, you go, you make your choice. The EC will count the votes, and then we will see.
Yeah, Lantam, but before we go, yes, we are looking forward to 2 more polls. One from Ben Efsin, the other one from Dr. Asasanti and his team.
Yeah.
Yes, so...
And then we'll see.
Asasanti's one we told will come the week that we are headed into. Ben Efsin says he will release his own 3 days.
3 days to the
December
elections.
7th. We are looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to all of that. Thank you very much, Ibrahim Al Hassan and Midday Tete joining us here on the campaign trail.